Hello, everybody. This is Coach Chris, and this is another episode of Jiu-Jitsu Therapy with Chris Mize. Wow. Hope everybody's faring well. I know everybody's kind of stuck at home, or at least they're a good bit of the time anyway. We're pushing our limit on the 10 group gathering in this room right now. So, and we're very blessed because of that. But we have been designated the fact that we are at least 6 foot apart. That is a lie also. But anyway, joining me today in the room, got my daughter Molly's fiance over on the other side, who will go nameless. We'll call him G. Just for his own protection. We won't delve into that in case it goes crazy. My son Nathan, he's here. He's giving us a thumbs up. Coach Michael McGrath down on the end, showing a little international flavor to the room. It's not time for him to talk yet, guys, so he's just still giving me the gift. He is here, though.
Don't tell my home country of Australia that I'm here. I'm supposed to be fucking locked down, so please don't do that.
I love the Kiwis.
Kiwis.
So, anyway.
I've changed again. I'm New Zealand now.
Exactly.
I know.
It changes about every 30 minutes.
That's right. Well, you get the gist of it.
I'm a Kiwi with a mullet.
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Okay.
They're coming back.
They're coming back. I can see a visit New Zealand bumper sticker now. A Kiwi with a mullet.
And it has a sheep on it.
That's right. With a smile. So anyway, also here with us is my daughter Molly. So she's here and running the board as always, unless his wife is doing it.
That's right.
Coach Chris Bowen here in the wonderful Furlough Podcast studio, and let me tell you, as when we have people come in that aren't used to being here, I forget. Coach Chris has this great piece of art on his wall in the studio, and I mean, if it's ever your first time to come in there, and I know some of you guys have seen it if you looked at his podcast and stuff, and some of his posts and stuff, but that thing always grabs everybody's attention when you come in. It is an attention getter, and I don't think it ever does not grab my attention when I walk in.
There's always something new every time you kind of look into it.
Well,
It's
that's
like,
true.
It's a little nugget of.
That's. I just noticed something down on the end down here, with this face on the side. I never
face.
noticed.
In white.
Yeah, I never noticed that.
No, me neither.
So, you're exactly fucking right. You're right.
It's like a good book or a good movie,
That's right. It just different layers. So, but anyway, guys, us like y'all have probably been hemmed at home a good bit as of late, and so we thought it would be a good time. And I don't know where this is going to go, but I just got fascinated with the term social distancing, and it's such a great catchphrase nowadays. And what that kind of, I mean, everybody's kind of got the idea about, staying away from everybody, that kind of stuff. But I think of, like, for distance, we in fighting and jiu-jitsu and everything, we use the term distance so often. And if you can control the distance, you're really controlling the fight, because you can be out of distance, you can be in that hot spot zone where you're going to get beat the crap up, and you can be in that clinch position where you're so close, you're smothering the attacks. So that's how we kind of look at distancing. But social distancing, this generation has caught so much flack about how they're not social anymore. They're going to be the ones that survive all this, because
That's right. All the gamers are like,
That's right.
I'm doing something different.
Let me show you how it's done.
That's right.
This is how it's done. You can do this shit for 72 hours straight.
That's right.
That's right.
That's my
Which is right.
son.
That's right. That's right. So, but yeah, it's interesting, how people are, and everybody, raises so much Cain, but in reality, everybody's been social distancing for quite a while. It's just now when somebody brings attention to it, it becomes a bigger deal. But
Well, it's become a big deal when you're so used to going to the gym to train, and it's your everyday. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when I think what's bothered people the most is the disruption of their ability to do what they want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like your choice is taken away. So, I choose to go train.
Right.
I choose to do jiu-jitsu. It's my therapy. And so not being able to go on my own, accord makes it a little tough.
Yeah, not being able to make that choice. Our choices are more limited now. So yeah, that's definitely an interesting component. Yeah, I think it's interesting how some people were kind of slow to get in the game of that too. I think some gyms and some even some martial arts things were even our own fellow jujitsu people. I know that because I'm friends with a lot of different folks, and some people were a little slow to get on board.
I like to aggravate everybody saying if we haven't caught whatever each other's got by now, we're probably
That's right.
when you sweat and roll around on people and
Yeah.
sweat drips in your eyeball and your mouth and you're just like, you had Doritos today. And so it's like,
No, I didn't. No, but yeah, Coach Chris has a wonderful way of making jiu-jitsu sound sexy.
it is.
But anyway.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's I would like to believe that a lot of schools do a great job of taking care of their schools and do different stuff of that nature. Hopefully your students are doing a great job of keeping their uniforms, gis clean, taking a bath and washing their hands. I've been shocked at the fact that you've had to tell people to wash their hands like they're 2 or 3 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it happens. So it's like, I mean, I thought that was a given. I mean,
Right.
but when it comes to jiu-jitsu and everything like that, I think that, I would like to believe that we're kind of ahead of the curve on hygiene because we do have to touch each other, and we do. I think we're more aware, or should be more aware of, do you stink? You know what I'm saying? If you stink, that means you ain't washing, So now, do you stink after you've sweated for a while? Yes, that's a different thing. But when you're fresh come in, when you throw your gi on, you should be able to go, oh, I made a mistake with this one.
Like Irish Spring.
Yeah, like Irish Spring. We have a couple of people that I've rolled with at your particular school. And so I was like, man, your wife does a great job of washing your. You smell great.
Right.
Laughing.
Right.
But I think a lot of martial arts schools may be ahead of that kind of stuff because of the lifestyle that we live.
Well, I mean, hopefully so, and hopefully we've got sense enough to, we know because of the type of training we do, we put ourselves at risk because of the close proximity. But I think the mistake people were making, and this is, again, no one take this personal, I guess you can though, is there's no cases in my county. You have people say, we're still open, but there's no cases in my county. It's just like, dude, that just means that people aren't testing people in your county. That's all that means. Mm-hmm. I mean, and again, you look at the area and you can understand why. I mean, where it's at, but I mean, that's it. Just nobody was being tested in your county. That's why.
And a shameless plug for my show is when I interviewed Michael Yan, that was been over in combat correspondent. He's in Thailand and Hong Kong. He said this on my show at the first of the year. Weeks before all this happened. He talked about it heavily on the show that, y'all better be prepared. This is fixing to happen. They're just now talking about it. And this is before it hit the mainstream news. And then, bam, it hit mainstream news and that it was happening over there. And then next thing you know, it's happening here. I mean, he called it months, or at least a month and a half, 2 months before it hit. Mm-hmm. And so nobody was just listening.
Right. Nobody till it's in your back door. I think till it's like the people that were, I think, so caught off guard, or they acted like when we were the only state like in our area that did not have a case, on the map yet, and everybody was like, did people actually think that we weren't going to have any? I mean, that was the thing. The risk is there. We're so close.
I thought coronavirus was scared of Alabama, to be honest.
Well, that's what everybody thought, I think. But I mean, so I was actually relieved when we had our first case because we have so much traffic there. There's no way that you're not going to. Mm-hmm. It just gives people, it's like waiting for something to happen. People didn't really take it serious till it was like really close. And I mean, that's weird because we're all intelligent, people who've been around for a bit, but to be able to think, hey,
but it was the availability of the testing.
Oh
You
yeah.
couldn't go anywhere and get a test at
Right.
one point.
Right.
You know,
Right.
So people probably already had it and gotten rid of it, and then.
Well, I know a couple of people that that were sick around December and January. That when you go back and listen to what the symptoms are, I was like, "Oh, you had that. There's no way you didn't have that.
Yeah.
It was all you."
Mm-hmm.
And but I think that there's a seriousness level, and I think there's a level where people are panicking. You know, it's like in any virus, there's people that are going to be more susceptible than others to have a bad run with it. But I think there's a lot of people that, you know, are going to get it that aren't going to be near as affected.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, you know, just people, like, I think one of the things going on right now is that people are still in like a bit of denial about all of it, meaning they think, well, they're healthy and this, that, and the other, and they're like, this is a government conspiracy and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, that stuff can blow up.
Tune into my show for that episode. We'll be discussing that this week. Conspiracy theories.
So we're stopping right there then. But no, I mean, you look at it and people think that it's a conspiracy thing about it, and that it's about control. And I mean, there's a control element, but you know.
So what are you encouraging people to do as far as staying on the path of their martial training?
Well, we're actually going to do a discussion about self-improvement at home on another episode. But for right now, we can specifically hit on like jiu-jitsu. Visualization is such a big thing. We've talked about it before in here. We were watching a interview with Larry Carlton, the great jazz. Well, he's just a studio musician. Yesterday's a guitarist and played on so many great songs in the 70s. And he said, the guy asked him what happens when you take time off from playing. Let's say you don't play guitar for whatever. And he said he's gone as much as 2 months and never played. You know, and I mean, hadn't played. For him, he's played since he was 6. So what his point was, he said, for him, he's got it in him. So it's not like, he says, you know, he kind of loses his chops a little bit and gets back into it. It's like us taking a break, you know, and coming back. But I think visualization of stuff is so important. But man, there's so much material out there now. I mean, of course, we posted a video every day, but I mean, like Henzo has freed up his site, you know, his university site for a month for nothing. Danaher put out some free content. People that have schools like us, we're putting out stuff to everybody so that people have stuff that they can look at and things like that. There's so much great jiu-jitsu out there. You can really get a good flavor if you're, no matter what level you're at. But you know, I think if it's hard to work pressure. If you know, luckily we're not at home alone. You know, you got. You know, as I walked in, I saw you had 3 potential training partners right next door there.
There's been a few scuffles in the house this weekend, but that's
right.
normal.
Coach Chris's teenage son and 2 of his buddies are here. And, of course, there is Amber.
That's right.
So,
that is right.
So four potential. But
yeah.
Amber would probably throw the youths at him and let him, you know.
Yeah.
That way
wear him down.
Right, that's right. That way she could continue watching Tiger King.
Yeah, Tiger King. Yeah.
We had to have a Tiger King.
Shameless plug for Tiger King. If you're messing around, tune in. That'll change your life.
We're going to try to watch that tonight on Netflix.
And I'm trying to figure out how I missed all that in life. I'm like, okay, that happened that year. That happened that year. Where was I asleep?
I remember I was watching some YouTube. Yeah, I saw it. We just saw it on Netflix. I remember seeing stuff in the news about the guy, Joe Exotic, and just I remember he ran for president at one point.
And governor.
And governor, yeah, he was in politics.
Shit, I'm ready to go home, y'all.
Guess what?
All right, until next week. No, we got a few more minutes on this one, guys.
Yeah, it's a great show. Yeah.
I am looking forward to it, though.
You should. But I think back to jiu-jitsu though is I think that, in my opinion, it's a great time to read a little bit. You know, not just watch videos, but maybe read a bit. I think it's time for people to, you know, I know I've been reading Lloyd Irvin's book, his game plan book, and not that I'm a Lloyd Irvin fan per se or dislike him. I just find it fascinating that his book, you know, I got it, you know, just to I think if you're in jiu-jitsu, it's a good time to sit and think about what is my style and what do I need to do better, because I think a lot of people don't. They come to the gym and they work on their craft as far as their techniques, maybe their wind or whatever. But a lot of them, and you hear a lot of people, especially in the lower ranks, they go, well, they're either nervous when they go to competition, they don't know how to prepare. I think some people are self-defense people, some people are competition people, but in the end goal, especially reading this book, it's all the same. You have to be mentally prepared. It's not just what you know, but you have to be mentally prepared on how you're going to address a situation, whether it's in sport or whether it's in self-defense. You can teach somebody self-defense all day long, okay? But are they mentally prepared when the action happens? Or are they going to freeze? Okay, and this book is great for that. Give him a little shameless plug, and it's really great for competitors, because it's not just a book on how to do jiu-jitsu. It's a book on how do you make your short-term goals and how do you make your long-term goals. And right now, with everybody being social distanced, from where they can't go and do this thing, right now is a really great time. If you don't have somebody, that one person to train with without breaking the rules or worrying about getting sick with, right now is a great time to say, okay, what's my short-term goals? This is a couple weeks, we're going to be down. What's this, I'm going to rest, I'm going to rest my body. What am I going to do when I get back in the gym? And even as a school owner, this is a great time saying, okay, now I got versus, where you feel like you got class every day. So it's really kind of hard time to plan. Okay, you got a couple weeks, 2 weeks minimum, right? So even as a gym owner, you're like, okay, now is the time. What is my short and long term goal for the next X whatever time frame you choose that to be? Short term goal could be 3 months, or it could, my long term goal could be a year. I've got a little bit of time to think about that. There's no way your gym's not clean, because we've been wiping down bars, the bar walls at the bar. So I know
we had nothing to. We didn't have anything to do the other day. We just cleaned it again. There was no hadn't been a human being in there. We were shooting those videos. It's like, well, we've covered about 25 foot in here. We
very clean. So now is a great time. So it's a great time to reflect, on your mental aspect of your jiu-jitsu game, your school. What is I think everybody should maximize this time. I know I'm trying to maximize it.
Right. I mean, self-improvement. This is the time. We always bitch and complain about, I just don't have time. This is the time to spend time with family. This is the time, and to work on those relationships.
Absolutely.
Because, as I've said before, we are all so interconnected, even people we don't get to see that often. But people that are key people in your lives, we're so interconnected, and we need to reach out to people and make sure everybody's okay. This is a great opportunity to do that. Family members, whatever. It's a great time to reconnect. I mean, you make excuses about stuff, but this is a time to fix stuff. This is, and as we take a checks and balance of our life and say, man, I wish I had done that, or I wish this is that time, because we were talking about it on the way here. This is a bubble. We're in a bubble of time that is something that we in our lifetime have never had, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a time.
I've never been quarantined.
No,
except for that one time out of Thailand. I'm not going to talk about that.
Anyway. My mind just wandered. I'm sorry, I'm no good now. But this is a time to really just work on things and relationships and self-improvement stuff, reading what you need to read, and do those little things, and learn a new skill. I mean, my God, I could come out of this. I could speak fluent Spanish by the time I'm out the back door of this thing.
And I need to.
We all do.
Work on
we all
Spanish.
Do. Helps you understand Portuguese better too.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
a few guys that do or don't give a rip.
Yeah.
But we're in a window of where time is slowed down. And as we were talking about, to make it full circle, distance and timing is everything in martial arts. It's distance and timing of what we do. So the timing, you making good use of this time is going to be such a big asset to us. Or you can just waste it away and be pissed off and irritated because things can't be the way you want them to be.
Do you feel like this is a time where you could lose students because of they're like, oh, well, maybe that just wasn't for me, and this is just a good excuse not to come back?
Well, we're looking at stuff from our perspective and just our situation is not like the same of other people. I don't want to say anything that's going to put any of my brothers and sisters. I know you're not trying it, but I mean, if I start talking about how we're handling the problem.
No, don't worry about handling the problem. But do you feel like there are certain people that because it's almost like the disappearance of the blue belt. Some people are like squirrel. They change their mind on different
Coach,
things.
it's like this, and we've been very fortunate. And I'll tell you this, I'm gonna go on a rant. We do a lot of stuff right at our school.
Mm-hmm.
You're a big part of that. I mean, and we have several great people that teach class and great people there. When you talk about the culture of your school, people, this is the test of the culture of your school.
Mm-hmm.
This situation, and I mean, if things get bad enough, it doesn't matter who you are. I mean, you can be Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it's gonna tear you up. You'll be crying in a corner.
Sure. Sure.
But the thing is, I'm talking about some people. I bet a lot of schools after the first week, people were calling and saying, "Hey, I want to, is there any way I want to cancel my membership, or I want to delay my, people started," and that did not happen.
That's great. That's great.
And I know it's going. I mean, the thing is there, but we're keeping all that. Listen, we put ourselves in the same place of our people, and so when we address things, somebody said something. It's not what we can do; it's what we should do. That's how we should apply our life. It's not because you can get away with it, should you do it. It's like, what should you do about it?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do the very best we can to try to make the environments good for our people. But I tell you, if you got a good, strong program, that bell curve of what's going to happen is going to be diminished on the ends, of as far as being on the bad part of it.
Right. Well, I know, Mike, you travel a lot, so, I mean, you got to experience those roller coasters of emotions all the time because, you're in, out, moving around. What would you suggest to people that might be listening that don't typically get pulled away from training?
Just on a different thought process. This virus had an impact in my company actually.
Oh, okay.
Last week, so I had an employee that came back from Canada. He came in the company on the Monday and didn't feel too great, so he followed the protocol and stayed home. And then another employee was really pissed off about it because he had elderly parents and so on, and was threatening all kinds of stuff. So I was kind of on that thought process. Are we talking about what not being able to train?
Well, no, with the the mental aspect of some people, especially if they haven't trained as long as others have, they when you get idle time like that, they say maybe I should be doing something else or whatever like that, and because like all of us when we get locked in on a new thing. If I'm going to play the piano, bam, I'm excited. So I'm playing the piano for X amount of time, right? And then something gets you pulled away, and then maybe you're like, well,
So I think the risk to Chris as a business is the time elapsed from when a person's started training. Okay, I think if you got the guy that's been there 1 to 6 months, there's a significant chance that they may not come back. Because jiu-jitsu is not in their blood. The people that have been in the game longer, they're like, you know what, this is it. This is my life. Coronavirus is going to pass, and that's it. And actually, I've had some conversations with some of the guys away from Chris, and it's playing out exactly like that.
That's great.
The guys that have been in the game longer, they're like, we'll do anything we can to support Chris. He's going to be there after this is over. So.
Well, I'm just going to let you know I quit today.
I'm out.
Well, I'm just throwing that.
I'm all about the drama. So thank you.
No, if I quit today, that would be.
Makes me wish we'd filmed this.
I'd be shaking. I would be shaking. It wouldn't be from a coronavirus. I'd be shaking by the end of next week.
But sort of behind that as well is there's significant pressure from families and family members.
There is.
For us to not train. I don't mean me in particular, but
no,
from
people.
heard, like, hey, you really got no business going there. I mean, it started to tail off a little bit, didn't it, in the last couple of weeks? You know, wives or whatever, significant others were saying, I really appreciate if you don't go there. But, you know, they have all intentions of coming back. And,
right.
Yeah, so.
Well,
I'll answer your question.
I think this is the thing. In a month from right now, if things aren't letting up, the least of our worries will be jiu-jitsu.
That is true.
So that's the way I think that's how we should approach and live our lives right now. Don't do stupid stuff that causes us problems. But I think we should try to make the most of the time we have, because this thing is going to have to play out to a certain degree.
Unless you're going to the store for toilet paper, then your jiu-jitsu will count.
So yes. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah. By that time, you'll be glad you did that jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, that's right.
I think one of my friends online, not to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole, had posted a thing that said, support your local jiu-jitsu club. I think, you know, in these times or something. And one of the other professors, is Alan Hopkins actually, said, if you call it a club, it'll become a club. That means you kind of get together every once. When you want to train, you know, like that. And I know when you're young, you can pull that crap off because you got a lot of time, or if you're not working or you're not doing anything. But you know, we need to keep the mindset of our schools. You know, think about it. That's something about when we do end up getting back and all. And even right now, you can't really be rolling around with too many people anyway. I mean, the club is a very small club, a very unique.
Very true.
Me and my brother. That's it. That's our club. But you know, we need the constant real tactile function. I think that's why jiu-jitsu really can't be really taught online, because you have to have a partner and there has to be a kinetic energy between all the parts and the yin and yang, the physical, because that's why techniques are so different watching as opposed to doing. You know, it's like, you know, you got to feel the magic, you know, the move. So, but anyway, I think that's like I said, we're just hoping that everybody, you know, as long as everybody respects each other and keeps everything going, it'll be better on the end. But hey, there's stuff we can't do anything about. Let's don't make trouble. Everybody we need to do what's safe for everybody, and just keep up the good work on that. Everybody seems to be doing okay right now. We just want to keep it this nice level. Let's reflect back on it in a month and see what happens. All right, guys. Thanks for coming in, guys. Thank you guys for listening to the Jiu-Jitsu Therapy Podcast. If you will, like us or subscribe to us on Facebook. Share us with a friend. Just tell people about us. Hopefully enjoyed this episode and look at some of our backlogged episodes. Coach Chris tries to put one out every week. And if you have suggestions for topics you'd like us to cover, non-social distancing topics or things like that, we'll be glad to. But again, thank you again, and everyone stay safe out there.